He can fight, yeah. For boxers his level, yes.
Meaning what? Not your level?
I do not believe so. No, not at all.
Mike Tyson reportedly launched a brutal verbal and physical attack on Jake Paul after Paul made explosive claims about their November 15th fight. Paul accused Tyson of tarnishing his own legacy by participating in a supposedly rigged match and even suggested that Tyson only agreed to fight because he needed the money. These remarks didn't sit well with Tyson, leading to a dramatic confrontation.
I've always been in the gym training. I'm a boxing professional fighters. I'm just, activity is great. I had 15 fights in 1 year when I was younger, and I think activity is great, but I'm prepared.
The idea that a global icon like Mike Tyson would be begging a YouTuber for cash is laughable. But let's take a step back. Does Jake Paul even understand the rules of boxing, or is he just making things up as he goes? It's hard to say, but one thing is clear. Jake Paul has no clue what he's talking about, and now he's about to face the consequences. Ironically, the Tyson-Paul fight was the boxing match nobody asked for, but somehow everyone couldn't look away.
Tyson is getting back in the ring. He's 58 years old. He's facing off against YouTuber turned boxer, 27-year-old Jake.
When news broke that 57-year-old Mike Tyson would face off against 27-year-old Jake Paul, the internet collectively raised an eyebrow. Was this a serious fight or the world's most bizarre midlife crisis? Critics were quick to call it a circus before the first bell even rang. The age gap, surprisingly, was the least of the concerns. On one side stood Tyson, a boxing legend. On the other, Jake Paul, a social media star turned boxer whose biggest asset is his ability to go viral. The matchup felt like pairing vintage wine with cheap soda. Then came Jake's most ridiculous claim yet, his so-called financial rescue theory. According to Paul, Tyson practically begged for the fight because he needed the money. Seriously, Jake? The same Mike Tyson who built a multi-million-dollar cannabis empire and likely has more cash in his couch cushions than you have in your crypto wallet. Fans were understandably outraged.
There is an alleged script leak. This has not been confirmed. Take it with a grain of salt. No one knows if this is real.
Just when the buzz around the fight was beginning to settle, a bombshell dropped. The alleged script leak. And this wasn't some vague rumor on a sketchy Reddit thread. It was a detailed, round-by-round breakdown of how the fight was supposedly going to unfold. According to the script, Tyson would start strong with his signature bob and weave. Jake would endure the early onslaught, and by round 5, Tyson would hit the canvas after a perfectly timed right hook. It sounded more like something straight out of a Hollywood writer's room than a legitimate fight. Fans were stunned, not just by how specific the script was, but by how eerily close it came to reality. Tyson did look slower. Jake seemed sharper, and even the detail about Tyson getting a cut above his eye turned out to be true. Suddenly, the fight didn't feel like a clash of boxing styles. It felt more like WrestleMania, only with slicker PR.
I love Mike, and despite what he said in that interview with the girl about the legacy, we love him and his legacy.
Meanwhile, Tyson remained unusually quiet. No angry denials, no fiery outbursts. It was almost as if he was letting the rumors swirl or maybe trying to track down whoever leaked the supposed plot twist. If there really was a contract with a non-disclosure clause, someone was in serious trouble. Jake, however, couldn't resist stirring the pot. On his podcast, he casually claimed that he eased off during the fight to avoid hurting Tyson, because, naturally, he was the real threat. This offhand comment exploded faster than one of Tyson's iconic uppercuts. Was Jake admitting the fight was staged? Was he just bragging? Or worse, was he too clueless to realize he might have just let slip a career-ending secret? By this point, the Tyson-Paul fight had gone from controversial to outright infamous for all the wrong reasons. Fans weren't just doubting the legitimacy of the match anymore. They were rewriting the entire storyline in their heads.
Exactly. I started the method. Thank you. I started Jake Paul off.
Mike Tyson's patience finally snapped, faster than Jake Paul's claims of being a legitimate boxer. After weeks of enduring rigging accusations and watching the absurd leaked fight script go viral, Tyson decided it was time to set the record straight. This time, it wasn't with his fists. In an interview with Fox Sports Radio, the former heavyweight champ shut down the rumors, declaring emphatically that the fight was real. He didn't just say it, he practically growled it, daring anyone to suggest that taking 78 punches was part of some elaborate charade. Tyson wasn't just dismissing the allegations, he was visibly seething. His message was simple. You don't fake waking up the next morning feeling like you've been hit by a cement truck.
Look at my life as a legacy. Legacy to me means ego. Who the is about my legacy? I'm gonna be dead soon one day, but he's not gonna win.
This wasn't just about the physical toll. It was about Tyson's legacy. For him, the rigging rumors weren't just insults. They were brass knuckle blows to everything he built. His legendary status now carried an asterisk, thanks to a leaked fight script that sounded like a rejected asterisk Rocky asterisk sequel. Behind the scenes, whispers grew louder. Insiders hinted at a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, that strictly barred anyone from revealing details suggesting the fight was anything less than 100% real. Yet, Jake Paul couldn't resist stirring the pot. On his podcast, he casually claimed he eased off during the fight, as if he were a benevolent boxing god. This wasn't just cockiness. It was potentially NDA-breaking cockiness. Sources suggested Tyson was ready to go full legal bulldog if the NDA existed, and Jake may have crossed a line thicker than Tyson's gloves. For Tyson, this wasn't just about the fight. It was about defending the brand he'd spent decades building, now dragged through the mud for clicks.
Welcome back to The Pain Game. Today we're going to talk Darren Till versus Tommy Fury / John Fury, of course. But first, some more important and quite serious news in the combat sports world. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, it's come out now. It was rigged. I can't believe it. You know, you have to question the validity of boxing these days when you can't trust two professionals to get in the ring and do their best against each other. And instead you find out Mike Tyson pulling his punches, not trying to hurt Jake Paul. Absolute disgrace. I thought better of them. You know, I really did. I thought that Mike Tyson especially, Iron Mike, he was going to go in there and knock Jake clean out. But here he is, not trying. I'm so disappointed in him. But you don't need to take it from me.
The fight itself only added fuel to the fire. Statistically, Jake Paul dominated, landing 78 punches to Tyson's mere 18. On paper, it looked like a boxing masterclass, except for one glaring issue. It was Mike Tyson. The same Tyson who once knocked out legends with a fraction of those punches, even on his worst days. Watching him struggle to land clean shots felt like seeing Superman lose a wrestling match to SpongeBob. Yet, ringside footage told a different story. The hits looked brutal and painfully real. Tyson didn't seem like someone acting out a script. He looked like a man desperately chasing past glory while his body begged him to stop. His iconic bob and weave had slowed to a shuffle, and his punches came with the pace of a buffering video. Even Tyson admitted something was off, confessing to blanking out mid-fight, a revelation that only deepened suspicions. Was it exhaustion, age, or something else entirely? Whatever the cause, his sluggish performance gave conspiracy theories more traction, even if the simpler truth was the undeniable march of time.
But that changed when Paul clenched with Tyson. It's alleged he whispered into Tyson's ear to cool him.
Then came the aggression factor. Ringside analysts noticed something intriguing. Jake Paul wasn't holding back. He threw with bad intentions, landing sharp combinations and even cutting Tyson above the eye. It was as if Jake's competitive streak took over, and he forgot he was supposed to be the entertainer, fighting instead like a man desperate to prove his legitimacy. And what's at the root of all this? Money. Never one to miss a chance to stir the pot, Jake claimed Mike Tyson approached him out of financial desperation. According to Jake, Tyson needed the fight to keep his bank account from hitting rock bottom.
I did tell you about it. At the time, I wanted to do a pay-per-view roast, like it was a boxing match, and they'd said, oh yeah, Mike could make $20 million.
Then there's the juicy pay-per-view, PPV debate. Industry insiders whispered that both fighters walked away with hefty seven-figure paydays. But did Tyson feel shortchanged? Maybe. If Jake Paul earned more thanks to his internet clout, It would have been a bitter pill for Tyson to swallow. Imagine dedicating decades to building a legendary career, only to be out-earned by a guy famous for pranking strangers on YouTube. Ouch. The real question is whether Tyson's return to the ring was a savvy business move or a desperate grasp at glory. Some say he craved one last moment in the spotlight or wanted to prove that even at 57, he could still rearrange someone's face. But stepping into the ring with Jake Paul wasn't just a gamble. It was like a retired lion challenging a loud-mouthed hyena. Tyson might have been thinking easy payday, but he clearly underestimated how far Jake would go for clout. Social media wasn't kind either. Fans roasted Jake for allegedly disrespecting Tyson, accusing him of milking the fight for publicity while tarnishing a living legend. Memes, think pieces, and angry tweets flew like punches in a street brawl. In the court of public opinion, Jake wasn't just the villain. He was the final boss of boxing trolls.
Reason and one reason only, and that is the money. He's getting paid so much money to do this. So that tells me he's getting bought. So again, it is sad that someone like Mike Tyson...
Rumor has it, Tyson didn't just walk away from the fight. He stormed off, leaving behind a trail of scorching words aimed directly at Jake Paul. Insider sources claim Tyson unloaded a verbal knockout during a private post-fight conversation, telling Jake to stop ruining his legacy and to keep his name out of his clout-chasing mouth. Classic Tyson, sharp, direct, and ready to bite back. There's even speculation that Tyson's team is considering legal action for potential contract violations. If Jake truly hinted at fight fixing on his podcast, he may have broken the golden rule of celebrity fights. Don't talk about the script. Tyson's lawyers are reportedly on high alert, ready to pounce if Jake keeps running his mouth. So, what does all this chaos mean for the future of boxing? Has the sport crossed the line where hype and headlines now matter more than skill and legacy? Can boxing survive when fights feel more scripted than spontaneous? And most importantly, how long before fans stop tuning in altogether, tired of wondering if they're watching a real contest or just another pay-per-view soap opera? The ring was once a place where legends were made, but now it's starting to look like just another stage.